الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين فاطر السماوات والأرضين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وخاتم النبيين حبيب قلوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا سيدنا ومولانا أبي القاسم محمد المصطفى
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد
وعلى الجوهرة القدسية البتول الأضراء سيدة النساء فاطمة الزهراء وعلى بعلها أمير المؤمنين وبنيها الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد
لا سيما على بقية الله وحجته الكبرى الذي بيمنه رزق الورى وبوجوده ثبتت الأرض والسماء ولولاه لصاحت الأرض بأهلها واللعنة الدائمة على أعدائهم أجمعين من حين عداوتهم إلى قيام يوم الدين أما بعد فقد قال الإمام محمد الباقر عليه الصلاة والسلام الكمال كل الكمال التفقه في الدين والصبر على النائبة وتقدير المعيشة صلوات
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد
MashaAllah, very good speech by Muhammad. 5th of August is the martyrdom anniversary of Hujjat al-Islam al-Muslimin, Sayyid Arif al-Husayni, rahmatullah. Please recite one Surah al-Fatiha for his soul. It's very important that our youth participate in these speeches for all the great ulama from Islamic Ummah. And whenever there is a martyrdom of any alim, any great personality, our youth from Zainab Youth 360 should come forward and deliver a speech on that great personality. We need to keep them and their dhikr and their remembrance and their message alive. So 7th of Dhul Hijjah is the martyrdom anniversary of Imam Muhammad al-Baqir alayhi salatu wasalam. And he was 3 years old in Karbala, and his own duration of imamat is 19 years, and he stayed under the imamat of Imam al-Sajjad alayhi salam for 34 years. His laqab al-Baqir was given by Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and that's unique for Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam. Al-Baqir means someone who dissects and expands. He's the one who expanded the knowledges of the Prophet and started the propagation. So, and he's the one who has his unique lineage from his father's side towards Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, from his mother's side to the Fatima bint al-Hassan. So from mother's side, his lineage reaches Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam. This is only unique to Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam among the A'immah alayhi salam. So Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam is his services to Islam are unparalleled. In these 19 years of imamat, he not only uh, defended not only defended Islam but propagated Islam and produced some of the greatest personalities of all times. So some of the greatest personalities of all times are his students. So if you look at the list of the students of Imam alayhi salam, you find that Rijal al-Kashi says in one of the mother books of Ilm al-Rajal, right? So he says that knowledge of A'imma alayhi salam is summarized in four people: Salman al-Farisi, Jabir ibn Yazid al-Ju'fi, and Sayyid al-Himyari, and Yunus ibn Abdul Rahman. This is what Rijal al-Kashi says. And Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam has said that whatever Zurara ibn A'yan narrates, it's not, in other words, it's not okay for us to reject it. So Zurara ibn A'yan is the greatest student of Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam, and his tawseeq from A'imma alayhi salam is so much in his praise that you can hardly find that kind of praise for most of the narrators. So Zurara is the highest student of Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam, and also he learned from Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam. Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam is the one who started the propagation of these knowledges, produced these countless students, and if you look at the narrations, it is narrated that Jabir ibn Yazid al-Ju'fi rahmatullah alayh says that I was with Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam. So Jabir is one of the closest of the Imam. And Imam alayhi salam, when he reaches Karbala, he said to me, O Jabir, هذه روضة من رياض الجنة لنا ولشيعتنا. This is a garden among the gardens of paradise for us and our followers. وحفرة من حفر النار لأعدائنا. حفر جهنم لأعدائنا. This is one of the ditches of hellfire for our enemies. And then he said to me that, would you like to eat something? And I said, yes, I will. Imam put his hand in some of those stones which were there, and he brought an apple. I never smelled an apple with such a beautiful smell coming from that. I understood this is not an apple of this dunya, it belongs to Jannat. And he said, I ate from that apple, and I didn't stand in need of any food for next 4 days, nor did I stand in need of going to the washroom for next 4 days after consuming that one apple. And Safar is narrating that I asked Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam to teach me al-Ism al-A'zam, the greatest name of Allah. Imam alayhi salam said that come inside the house. I entered the house, and Imam alayhi salam, Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam, put his hand over the ground. The house became dark, and this person started to shiver. If you remember the story of Nabi Musa alayhi salam when he went on tour and Allah, uh, asked Allah to show him the tajalli, and when Allah did his tajalli, kharra Musa sa'iqa. So Prophet Musa cannot tolerate that. He fell down unconscious. So a Nabi who is on the status of being ulul azm, sahib al-shar, sahib al-kitab, he has his own sharia, he has his own book. One of the five greatest cannot tolerate this tajalli of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ismul A'zam is becoming mutajalli with the asma of Allah. This is Ismul A'zam. And we practice certain things to a level that our ruh accommodates that nuraniyat from Allah. This is where you have the knowledge of Ismul A'zam. It's not just memorizing the name of Allah. Names of Allah are not hidden. Even the best of the names is Allah. Al-Jami, Al-Ism Al-Jami, Al-Mustajmi, the Jami' al-Sifat al-Kamaliyya. It's not hidden even to the agnostics and non-Muslims. So names are not hidden. It's not about the names. It's a darajatun ruhaniyya. It's a level of the spirituality that a person acquires. So Imam said to him that, shall I teach you? He said, no. Imam lifted his hand from the ground and the earth became calm. So this is we don't have the capability of accommodating this nuraniyah from Allah. Remember what Imam Ali had said to Kumail ibn Ziyad, إن هذه القلوب أوعية فخيرها أوعاها فاسمع مني ما أقول. So these souls are containers, and the best of the souls is the one who contains most. How much we accommodate Allah's asma and sifat and values of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in our soul. This is the highness of the human. Asif bin Barakhiya, rahmatullah alayhi, the wasi of Prophet Sulaiman, knew one Al-Ism Al-A'zam, one greatest name of Allah only. Allah has 73 greatest names. He knew only one. And because of that, when Prophet Sulaiman wanted the throne of the Queen of Saba living in Yemen, all the way to Palestine. It's a long distance. And this Ifritum min al-Jinn, this huge jinn was there. Prophet Sulaiman who used to rule over jinns as well and birds, right? So he said, I'm going to أنا آتيك به قبل أن تقوم من مقامك وإني عليه لقوي أمين. I'm going to bring that throne before you stand up from your place. Standing up from the place is like, okay, when the king stands from his place, how much time it consumes? Maybe a few seconds, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds, right? Usually. But that was too long for Prophet Sulaiman. He didn't like this offer. He did not accept. And then Quran says, قَالَ الَّذِي عِنْدَهُ عِلْمٌ مِّنَ الْكِتَابِ أَنَا آتِيكَ بِهِ قَبْلَ أَنْ يَرْتَدَّ إِلَيْكَ طَرْفُكَ. So that person, Quran doesn't mention the name, but that's Asif bin Barakhiya in Tafsir. The wasi and deputy of Prophet Sulaiman was there. He said, I'm going to bring it for you before your, you blink, before the blinking of your eye. That's a fraction of a second. Fraction of a second versus, like, for example, 5 seconds. There's a big difference. And he said, and it was there. So, because fraction of a second is momentary. As soon as you say something, it's done. So as soon as he wished, it was there. And فَلَمَّا رَآهُ مُسْتَقِرًا عِنْهُ قَالَ هَذَا مِنْ فَضْلِ رَبِّي لِيَبْلُوَنِي أَشْكُرُ أَمْ أَكْفُرُ. So this is the fadl of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whomsoever He wishes, He provides that. So Prophet Sulaiman, likewise, the hadith says, the riwayat says, Prophet Sulaiman also had the knowledge of only one al-Ism al-A'zam, one greatest name. Obviously, the deputy Wasi of the Nabi and the Nabi are equal in their knowledge. Wasi has to protect the knowledge of the Prophet and continue the job of the Prophet after the Prophet with the same ismat and the same taharatul qalb and the same ilm. So Prophet Sulaiman knew only one greatest name, his deputy knew only one. Prophet Isa, when we come to Prophet Isa alayhi salam, he has the knowledge of only two. Al-Ism al-Azam, greatest names of Allah. And because of that, he used to give shifa to the dead people. He used to make them alive bi-iznillah, with the permission of Allah, and give shifa and cure to those who are born blind. People are born blind or... So, whereas when it comes to the Prophet and Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, you see Rasulullah and Amir al-Mu'mineen are the teacher of Salman al-Farisi, and the hadith says that Salman al-Farisi was taught al-Ism al-A'zam. So please say salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
علم سلمان العلم الأول والعلم الآخر وهو بحر لا ينزح وهو منا أهل البيت. Salman knew the beginning of the knowledge and the end of the knowledge, and he's an ocean that doesn't end, and he's one of us, Ahlul Bayt. So, but Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam have been given the knowledge of 72 names among the 73 names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is where the 73rd name is impossible to be known, because that's the difference between the creator and the creation. It's not possible for any creature to know it. And this is where we say that the knowledge of the Prophet and Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam is absolute. Everything that can possible be to be known. So it is also, please say salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
It's also narrated in Madinatul Ma'ajiz that Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam, Lays ibn Sa'ad says, I was there on Abu Qubais. Abu Qubais is a small mountain next to the Holy Kaaba. I was on the mountain of Abu Qubais doing dua, and I found a man who was doing this dua towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allahumma inni uridu al-inab farzuqnihi. Oh my Lord, I want grapes. So give me that. So a piece of cloud came forward close to him, and he grabbed those grapes from that cloud, and there was a basket having the grapes. And then he prays to Allah that I don't have clothes to wear, in other words, so give me some clothes. So the cloud came forward, brought some packet. He got the clothes, and the cloud went away. So then he said, I was next to him. He started to eat from the grapes, and I also put my hand in that same basket. I started to eat from the same grapes. Mom said, obviously he didn't know. He said, Imam al-Baqir salam. He said, what are you doing? This guy, and Lays ibn Sa'ad says that I said to him, well, when you were doing the dua, I said Ameen, and one person who says Ameen is part of the dua, so I'm part of these grapes as well. That's how he... So he continues to eat with the Imam, and then Imam alayhi salam got those clothes, new clothes. When they got off from the mountain, this is where he goes to the mountain of Safa, and bunch of people were there to welcome him, this person. And I asked one of those people, he gave one of his old clothes that he took off to one person who was there. I asked, who's this person? He said, this is the son of the Holy Prophet. Ja'far ibn Muhammad, Muhammad ibn Ali ibn Hussein ibn Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Some of the narrations say that Imams were hiding the point that they know al-Ism al-A'zam. Obviously, if you encounter these narrations, these are most likely set in the state of taqiyya, because Taghut governments are not sitting idle. They were sending their spies constantly throughout the history to monitor the behavior of the Imam, whether Imam is launching a political campaign, which they were launching political campaign against the Taghut always. But they were trying to track down those political campaigns so they can kill the Imams, and they killed. Taghuts killed all our Imams. 11 of those Imams were killed by them, right? They jailed them, they tortured them, they killed them. So all of them were launching political campaign for the walayat of Allah. So if you find a narration which says Imam is saying, Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam, for example, is saying that expressing that they don't know the Ism al-Azam, don't take that narration to be, reliable in its content, in the sense, because these kinds of narrations are always said in the state of taqiyya. That's why it's important to know who is the mukhatab of the narration. That's why we find out who's the narrator, chain of narrators, where the thing is said. Ilmul diraya rules over ilmul riwaya. Alaykum bid dirayat, la bil riwayat. Pay importance to dirayat instead of paying importance to the narrations. That's why ilmul diraya, the science to logically analyze the narrations, always overrides the science of narrations, because we need to analyze who were present at that time. That's how we discover whether there is an agent, snitches of Taghut present at the gathering. So Imam alayhi salam had to say something in a different way. That's not a lie. Taqiyya is not a lie. Tawriya is not a lie. And I talked about that in my series of lectures where we discussed what are the things which are exempt. We talked about Tawriya, Taqiyya, Mubalagha, and all those things we discussed. That none of these are lies, and we talked the definition of each one of those already for those of you who were present. So Abu Basir is also one of those great companions of Imam al-Baqir and Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam. He was blind, and he comes to Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam and says, Qutb al-Rawandi rahmatullah in his book narrates that he said to Imam alayhi salam, I'm your follower, and I'm your lover, I'm your follower, I'm blind, so I ask you to guarantee the paradise for me. Imam alayhi salam said, Imam said to me, don't you want that I give you the alamat and sign of A'imma alayhi salam? He said, I want you to give me both. That means the alamat of A'imma plus the guarantee of paradise. Imam rubbed his hand over my eyes and asked me to see. And when I was able to see all the Imams together along with Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam. I did the ziyarat of all the Imams. Please say salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Then Imam said to me, now look. I started to look again, and I see the people around me were all pigs and foxes and animals. All of them. I couldn't see any human being. I said, who are they? Are these mamsukhat? Those humans who were punished by Allah and converted into animals, we call them al-masukhat or al-mamsukhat. Imam alayhi salam replied to me, and these are as-sawad al-a'zam, the general masses of the people. If the curtain is removed, Imam said, the real face of our opponents is this. Anybody who is mukhalif, an opponent of Ahlul Bayt, this is their real face. If the curtain is removed. And, then Imam alayhi salam said to Abu Basir, if you want, I can keep you in this state. That means the state when he's watching all the human beings around him, and his eyesight, his vision is intact. And not only that, so basically he regains his eyesight because of the miracle of Imam al-Baqir. Or if you want, I can return you back to your original state, and then if I keep you in this state, your hisab is with Allah. If I return you back on your original state, that you will bring you back as blind, then your paradise is guaranteed by me. Abu Basir said, I don't want to see these pigs and foxes to turn me back to the blind state, because that is paradise is better than anything else. Please say salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
This is the reality of the a'mal of the people, because there are very few people who maintain their insaniyat. Islam is a religion of making us human beings. I remember Imam Khomeini used to say that Quran ek kitab-e-insan sazi. Quran is a book of manufacturing human beings. Allah wants us to become humans. If we don't follow the walayat of Ahlul Bayt, if we don't follow the ahkam of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we actually convert ourselves to animals. So, this person from Khurasan, Abu Basir narrates, a person from Khurasan came and met with the Imam, and Imam alayhi salam said to him, how is your brother? He said, when I left Khurasan, my brother was okay. Imam said, you have he had a neighbor called Saleh, and that neighbor called Saleh has killed your brother on such and such time. So he started to cry when he got the news of his brother getting killed. He said, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Imam said, calm down, he is in paradise, is better, better off there than this temporary, this world which is going to be demolished. Then he said, Ya Ibn Rasulullah, let me know how is my son doing. When I left Khurasan, my son was very, very sick. He was in severe pain when I left Khurasan for Medina. Imam alayhi salam said that your son is, he was cured, he was healthy, in other words, he's healthy. And then your uncle married his daughter to your son, and your son now has a baby. And that son of your son, that means your grandson, is our Shia, is one of our followers. But your son is our enemy. Your son is the enemy of us. So he said, is there something I can do for that? He said, no, he has an enemy, and that enemy is sufficient for him. So he heard that conversation, and then Abu Basir says he leaves the gathering. So Aimma alayhi salam are teaching us the principles and the values to lead our lives and to stick to these values for protecting our humanity. This hadith which I recited in the beginning of my speech, it's a very famous one. Some of the Maraje, some of the Mujtahideen write this hadith in their living room. And because this hadith summarizes the life of a human being, the policies of our life. Imam al-Baqir Islam has said, Al-Kamalu kull al-Kamal at-tafaqquh fi ad-din. That means the complete perfection is to acquire in-depth knowledge of the religion. This is the complete perfection. How many people go for this kamal and perfection in their lives? And how many people just, because their job is running smooth, they're making money, so they want to learn things from the surface of Islam, and then that's enough for them. Unless if their job is lost, and then they come back to the religion. So very few people learn in-depth knowledge, right? Al-Kamalu kull al-Kamal. The complete perfection is to have in-depth knowledge of the religion. وَالصَّبْرُ عَلَى النَّائِبَةِ, and have patience over the calamities that befall us. So whatever bala we go through in our lives, we will go through bala. This dunya is not a simple, easy place where it's a walk in the park. There will be muzahimat, there will be obstacles, there will be turmoils, there will be sicknesses, there will be poverties, there will be challenges, there will be wars, there will be all those oppositions and obstacles. You need to have sabr. Sabr doesn't mean that you stay silent, as misinterpreted by some. Sabr means staying the course. Continue doing your faridatun shar'iyya, your Islamic duty. Even if people oppose you, you continue doing your Islamic duty and be resilient over staying the course. That's sabr, for the sake of Allah. Wa taqdeerul ma'isha, and planning our life. So making a plan for our life, whatever money Allah destined for you in your hands, learn to live with the qada and qadar of Allah, and plan your lifestyle according to what Allah destined for you. This is the way. If somebody combines these three things, he has reached the kamal and perfection. This is the kamal and perfection. Marhum Allama al-Majlisi rahmatullahi alayh, Mullah Muhammad Baqir al-Majlisi. His father, Mullah Muhammad Taqi al-Majlisi. We call him al-Majlisi al-Awwal. Both of them were great, both of them were big scholars. The father of Mullah Muhammad Taqi al-Majlisi, Majlisi al-Awwal, was Mullah Maqsood, Marhum Maqsood Ali rahmatullah alayh. His wife was Salihah, a great woman, a great lady. She brings her child, Majlisi Awwal, Mullah Muhammad Taqi al-Majlisi. She brings her child and her brother, another son, Muhammad Sadiq, to Ayatullah Abdullah Shustari rahmatullah alayhi, and asks them to teach knowledge to my children. So just like the mother of Sayyid Murtada Alam al-Huda and Sayyid Rabi, who compiled Nahjul Balagha, their mother brought these two sons to whom? To Shaykh al-Mufid rahmatullah alayhi. Ya Shaykh, allimhum al-fiqh, teach them fiqh. So their mother brings to Ayatullah Mullah Abdullah Shustari, and so these are very poor times where there were our ulama were living in very bad conditions and poor conditions. Mullah Shustari gives 3 tuman as Eid to Mullah Majlisi al-Awwal and his brother Muhammad Sadiq. When they got this money, and he said to his teacher, I'm not going to use the money until I talk to my mom first, because this is how she has raised us, right? So he didn't use the money until they get to see their mother, and then the mother said to them, your father is taking care of your nafaqah. Whatever expenses you have in your life, your father is already taking care of it. If you start spending more money than your needs, you get habituated of that pattern of spending, and then when the money ends, you will be in the bad condition. This is how these mothers have been raising these ulama. How much time do we have? Inshallah we'll end this in اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد. اللهم انصر الإسلام والمسلمين واخذل الكفار والمنافقين. اللهم انصر من نصر الدين واخذل من خذل المسلمين. اللهم انصر واحفظ وأيد علماءنا الربانيين ومراجعنا الربانيين، لا سيما الولي الفقيه قائد المسلمين. اللهم انصر جيوش المسلمين وعساكر الموحدين. اللهم فك عن الأسراء المسلمين. اللهم وفقنا لما تحب وترضى، وعجل في فرج مولانا صاحب الزمان، واجعلنا من أنصاره وأشياعه وأتباعه وأعوانه بجاه محمد وآله الطاهرين.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.